Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the High Top Sports Network, where we are here at Richard Diltz Field for the 4A Greater Allegheny Conference Opener between the Hampton Talbots and the Kiski area Cavaliers. Excited to be here again tonight. I am your play-by-play man, Mark Flem, alongside Mr. Do-It-All, Mason Flanagan. Mason, we've seen some interesting games for the first 3 weeks, but guess what? That is all gone now. As we said last week, the slate is clean, and conference play begins tonight.
Yeah, Mark, you said it there as perfect as you can. No matter what happens in those first 3 weeks, they weren't pretty, that's for sure. But now you ended on a high note by getting a touchdown on the board at Laurel Highlands. You're back home. The fans should hopefully come out to support Kiski. It's a beautiful night for football. Great weather. You can't complain about that for the middle of September. And then, of course, you know, this is a tight matchup. Hampton and Kiski both expected to be right there in the running in a very evenly matched 4A section here. And it's all built up from here, hopefully, with a little bit of positivity at the end of last week's game. There's a lot more to go, and the hill just keeps going up, up, up. We'll just have to see, though.
Yeah, to your point, last week, Kiski area fell to Laurel Highlands 37-7, and the offense, they were basically faced with a 10-quarter pointless streak until Deshaun McBride found the end zone late into the contest. And that's where kind of the offense stands right now. 37-7. And we're talking about an offense for Kiski area that has scored just 3 touchdowns through 3 games. So this is kind of going to be the story of tonight's pregame, talking about what was and what will hopefully change for the Cavaliers in many facets. We talked about it, if you're just joining us, through the first 3 games. That's why they play non-conference games. That's why they play scrimmage games, to figure out, okay, who is our personnel? What do we have? What are our strengths? What is our weaknesses? And we started seeing some subtle changes last week in the game against Laurel Highlands. And I'm getting word from several players talking throughout the week that more changes are to follow. Some of the biggest changes come on the injury front. All-conference lineman Braden Micah throughout the week was expected not to play, or at least that was some of the reports or rumors going around. He had a shoulder injury against Laurel Highlands, and I believe he missed the second half. The good news for Cavaliers fans is he is expected to go tonight. However, another player that had an injured shoulder, defensive back Xavier Ford, is not expected to play tonight. So one of the changes you will see will be at cornerback, where we are expecting either Bart Martin and or LeBrin Smith to get some more action. In addition to the injury in the defensive backfield, we have a line change, if you will, or a position change. Mason Caldwell will now be starting on the offensive line. And then to wrap that up, it's going to be curious to see what happens in the special teams department, as we saw a changeover at punter. And I'm getting reports that we will no longer be seeing the squib kick.
Well, that's a good thing right there. The squib kick definitely hurt them. Special teams, it's a thing, you either have it and you execute it, but when you aren't doing that, and then that's when it comes out. I forget how. I heard a coach explain it before, and it's when you don't execute on special teams, or you don't have good, well-rounded special teams. It seems like something that people take for granted, but when you don't have it, it's just like ripping a Band-Aid off of a rushing wound.
Well, you're right. If anybody watched the Steeler game last week, you take for granted how many times, how many times the kickers, the long snappers, the holders, it just seems second nature. Snap's going to be perfect, the ball is going to be set, and the kick is going to go up, right? Well, if anybody watched the Steeler game, you see how one piece is missing from that puzzle can dramatically affect the game. So to get back to the Kiski Kiski area special teams, We've seen some struggles in the punting and kicking game in terms of field position, some coverage issues, just a lack of execution. Okay, so Kiski area looking to hopefully be kicking the ball deeper tonight, hopefully pinning the opponent deeper in their own territory, which in turn would hopefully help the defense, which at times has shown some positives and at times not so much. Looking at the stats, you would say, well, how can you find positives in a defense that has allowed 105 points in 3 games? All 3 games, the opponent has scored 33 points or more. But going back to the Pine Richland game, I can remember you and I talking through basically 3 quarters and a little bit of the fourth. It was a 19-0 game, and 2 of those points came on by a safety from the offense. So a defense giving up 17 points and keeping the Cavaliers in there. We've seen them create turnovers last week. We've seen the defense, at times be a strength. So that's going to be the theme for tonight. What do we see? Do we see the good things consistently or more consistently from the Cavaliers, or do those bad habits, those bad things continue to rear their ugly head and hinder the Cavaliers?
Well, yeah, I want to, speaking of what Kiski's defense has to go up against, Hampton, they run their offense. It seems like they run it mainly through 2 guys, their quarterback and their lead runner. Joey Mayer, the quarterback, only 37 attempts that I have. So, the pass game is there, but it's there to complement the run game of Brock Borgo. And Borgo, he averages 6.5 yards a carry, so I can imagine it's just power, try to wear down the Kiski defense. We've seen several times over the past couple weeks, Mark, where the defense just gets run down after so long. You can only be out there so long before it's tired, and then if you bend something so much, it's bound to break. So that I expect to see Borgo, and then if you get some open men in the backfield, we might see Mayer air it out a little bit, and then again bending and trying to break. The sooner the defense breaks, the sooner Hampton could come in here and say, well, we're just like Pine Richland, Laurel Highlands, Plum, the other guys that played Kiski in the past 3 weeks.
You're exactly right, and you took the words right out of my mouth in terms of the Kiski defense throughout the year has been bend but don't break. And at certain points, being on the field too long or poor field position based on the lack of offense has forced them to, quote, break several times. Let's look at the 2 teams overall before we continue to dissect and dive in and analyze. Kiski comes into the game 0-3. The first time they have started the season 0-3 since 2017. As we mentioned, coming off a loss on the road last week, 37-7 at the hands of Laurel Highlands. Hampton, they come into the contest 1-2. Last week they had lost to Central Valley 48-9. The Central Valley school that had won the WPIL and the PIAA Class 3A title last year. Central Valley moving up from 3A to 4A, so certainly a tall task for Hampton last week. Hampton has also lost to Shaler 28-24. Their only win came against Knock 48-0. So I'm sure that Hampton is thinking kind of the same thoughts on their end that we as Cavalier fans are thinking on this end. What kind of team are we going to see? Are we going to see the team that blew the doors off Knock? Are we going to see a team that competed with Shaler? Or are we going to see the team that got beat up last week against Central Valley? So you're exactly right. The Talbots are going to rely on a 3-headed monster. I believe you only mentioned 2 of them. Talking with some of the players, we should not be sleeping on wide receiver Benny Hasselrig. Hasselrig, incredible athlete, played 7-on-7 in the offseason with Rodney Gallagher on his team. Strong, tough, athletic wide receiver, and just a pure athlete. So along with Joey Mayer and Brock Borgo, certainly those 3 are going to be names that you hear throughout the evening. On the Kiski area side, let's dive into this offense a little bit. Looked decent in the first week against Plum in the first half. Stats weren't overwhelming, But if you watch the game, there were moments where the passing attack and the running attack showed flashes. From there on out, the second half through basically last week's game against Laurel Highlands, it's basically been non-existent, at least on the passing end. Looking at the stats, the passing game in the last two games for Kiski area, 15 yards against Laurel Highlands and 27 yards against Pine Richland. We're talking about two games and a total of 43 yards. That's not going to get it done.
Yes, just changing up the different looks has to be the name of the game there. As we meant all the way back to Pine Richland, Mark, you were very frustrated. We were all frustrated. It was just the same couple plays, and Mark, it seemed like you were calling the plays here as soon as you saw the Kiski line up. You said, "This is what's going to happen," and it sounds like Tony Romo up in the broadcast booth. There's exactly what the play will be.
Well, Tony Romo, I assure you, has way more in-depth and knowledge than I do of certain schemes and formations. Kiski area, to your point, was making it very easy on us through several series. We have yet to see them under center. All of their plays run out of the shotgun, and in many of those situations, they have been extremely predictable. The reports, again, I talked to the kids throughout the week. I'm always trying to get information, trying to pick their brains in terms of, what's the feel of the team, what are they seeing, what's changing, what's not. And I believe that there's some new formations being added in. I don't think there's anything else under center, but hopefully the coaches are seeing, what we're seeing up here, and the offensive playbook is going to start opening up a little bit more, especially as we dive in the section play. As we said, this is the conference opener for a Greater Allegheny. Both teams 0-0 as we get set at Richard Diltz Field. I'm watching the band make its way out here. I think this would be a good time to take a quick break, and we'll see what the band has in store for us. Stay tuned, because we don't go away when the band takes the field. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll bring you all the rest of the pregame action and the opening kickoff here in about 16 minutes. So you're listening to the High Top Sports Network. Stay tuned.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. We're here tonight at the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. Steve-O.
Woo! Guys, that's right. It's $5 Sushi Wednesday. Produce sale. Bananas. 45 cents a pound.
Pork turkeys. You know why we're doing pork turkeys? We're doing a fundraiser.
The meat keeps on rolling. The hair is sprankled.
You know what day it is today. It is Sushi Wednesday. $5 sushi rolls today.
We're getting inspired. Come on and help me. Hashtag save on meat.
And we're pumped up because we are less than 24 hours away from Camp Out for Community tomorrow.
Like and share, like and share. So like and share, help spread the word. Just make sure you like and share.
We can't do what we do without you.
Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Bye.
Welcome back to Richard Diltz Field. You're listening to the High Top Sports Network as we get prepared for the 4A Greater Allegheny Conference opener between the Kiski area Cavaliers and the Hampton Talbots, running over some of the matchups and players to watch as the Kiski area marching band takes the field. I'm excited to see what do we get out of the Cavaliers tonight. The theme has been change change in that, change in personnel, some due by injury, some due by coaches' decisions, change in formation, changes in play calls, and hopefully just a change in the overall product that we're seeing on the field. Kiski area comes into the contest tonight 0-3 for the first time since 2017. Cavaliers started the season last year 5-0, but guess what? That did nothing for them as they failed to make the playoffs. So we talked about it last week as we wrapped up the game against Laurel Highlands. It's all nice to start the season on a winning note. It's great to have some positives, going into conference play. But as the Cavaliers showed last year, it really doesn't matter. What you do in these conference games, that's how you get to the next level in terms of the postseason. That's how you get to the second season. And so it all begins for the Cavaliers tonight.
I always like to mention the student section, our construction theme, neon construction theme here, as everybody runs up into the seats.
I would say it's definitely a neon focus. I think
there's some hard, I see some hard hats though. Maybe
yeah,
it's
we must
just
have Swank Construction or something along those lines come out and give out vests, as we see many students wearing the safety vets here. We're going to take a quick pause as the Kiski area marching band plays our national anthem.
The national anthem. Now, please remain standing for the playing of the Kiski area alma mater.
Great job by the Kiski area band, as always. The award-winning Kiski area band, as they competed in their first competition here at Richard Dilts Field last week. Always good to see the band out there getting their just due. We talk about it every week about the football players and the hard work they put in. Can't stress enough how hard these band members work as well. So always good to hear the band out on the field, and it's always great to be here at Richard Dilts Field as we get set for the conference opener. We are roughly about 10 minutes away from the opening kickoff. If you're just tuning in, the theme tonight is change. And what will we see? We touched on some of the injuries, some of the things to watch for, players that are banged up, that are still on the field, and players that are banged up and will not be on the field. One of those will be defensive back Xavier Ford. If you've listened to us through the first 3 games, Ford, one of the starting defensive backs, and probably I would say, I don't want to say an unsung hero, but somebody that wasn't getting a ton of attention as we came into the season, but certainly has done a great job up until this point. Unfortunately, he will not be playing tonight. He has an injured shoulder, so it'll be interesting to see who steps up in his position. It could be newcomer Bart Martin, a junior who just started playing football, and or it could be LeBrin Smith, who we saw in the opener playing on both sides of the ball, and since then has not been on the defensive side. So it'll be curious to see who steps in, Who steps up? What do we get out of that change? Because, as I said, Xavier Ford has been somebody that's been doing a pretty good job out on the island for Kiski area.
Yeah, that's a tough. Anytime you lose a starter to an injury, it's unfortunate, especially when you're trying to get the pieces together and get everything figured out, but now you have to force some people into some other positions. Hopefully that means they're in the right position now and they're able to figure out a way to be a good next man up. You're only as good as your next man up. And some guys getting pulled back and getting new looks. Either way, a whole new look of a Kiski team with a little bit of change here and there, that could be a good thing, because whatever Hampton saw when they go through film isn't essentially there anymore.
Right.
But I'm excited to see, and I don't think we talked too much. We talked a little bit about Kiski's running game, but I believe I used the term the three-headed monster. You have Flem, you have Kusik, and you have DeAndre
McBride. Yeah.
Sean McBride. My apologies to him. Sean McBride. The three of them, the two power runners, and then Kusik, who's able to get the edge and get some different looks. I'd like to see if they utilize that a little more. At this point, you have to give McBride more looks, even though it was his first runs of the season.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Last week, again, for those of you that didn't watch the game, Deshaun McBride not only got his first carry of the season, but he led the team in carries and yards and scored what would have been the last touchdown of the game and Kiski's only touchdown in the last 10 quarters. He and Connor Flem both averaged over 5 yards per carry during that game. So certainly somebody or two people to watch for tonight. Do the Cavaliers get that running game going? Do they get these two players the ball more? And how effective are they going to be? We touched on the vanilla offense on Kiski area the first few weeks. Not much room to run. As many of those runs straight up the middle, not much, nothing really on the outside, and tough sledding. The offensive line and or the weaknesses of Laurel Highlands last week certainly gave way a little bit last week. As I said, we saw Connor Flem and Deshaun McBride both have some success running the ball. On the flip side of that, we go back to the passing game. So Kiski area had 135 yards of total offense last week. 120 of that came on the ground. So think about that. Kiski area with only 15 yards through the air. As we said earlier in the pregame, in the previous week against Pine Richland, Kiski area only had 27 yards through the air. So as effective as Kiski may want the ground game to be, it's certainly not going to be as good if they can't get that passing game going a little bit more than certainly what we've seen the last two games.
Well, yes, and I believe we even talked about it then. You're able to muster up one first down or two and eat up some clock, get some momentum down the field, then that opens up the opportunities to go for the pass, go for anything else. You could try different things. You can then you try different plays, but you have to be able to get that 5 or 6 yards and not be sitting at a 3rd and 10 every drive. 3 and outs have just killed the Cavaliers, and I don't think there's really any better way to say that.
What I would love to see the Cavaliers do tonight is anybody that knows LeBrin Smith, the starting quarterback, the one word that you would describe him on any field, court, the baseball diamond, as he plays all 3 sports, is he's an athlete. He's athletic. Let's get this guy out of the pocket. Let's get him moving, and let's put some pressure on that defense. Let's not have him standing back there, having to survey the field. If the offensive line is indeed having some troubles, let's get him moving, put some pressure on the D, and now all of a sudden that not only opens up for the running game, but it gives LeBrin Smith the option to, okay, hey, look, if I don't have anybody to throw to, I can use my strength, I can use my legs. And to his credit, we saw that during one play last week where LeBron Smith was able to pick up a big first down on a 3rd and long. So that's one thing that I'm certainly going to be looking at tonight. Does the passing game get going? And is it because we're using the strength of LeBron Smith? He's an athletic quarterback that can move around, and we saw what Rodney Gallagher did last week. Rodney Gallagher, an athlete that's is already committed to West Virginia. He's playing quarterback. Where LeBron Smith was able to pick up a big first down on a 3rd and long. He used his athletic abilities. That's one thing that I'm certainly going to be looking at tonight. Put pressure on that Kiski defense. Does the passing game get going? I would love to see the same and is it because scenarios we're using the strength of LeBron Smith. And he's an athletic quarterback. What that hopefully does is get more people involved. Some Rodney Gallagher did last week. Rodney Gallagher tonight's game is, get LeBron moving, and let's get some others that's already committed to West Virginia. Especially in the opener. He's going to West Virginia as a receiver that we focused on. That's one thing that I'm certainly going to be looking at tonight. Put pressure on that Kiski. Does the passing game get going? Somebody who's very reliable in the scenarios. We're using the strength of very reliable in terms of what he does. What that hopefully does is gets hitting his hands. Rodney Gallagher did last week. There are other people on that offense moving that can make some plays. Already committed to West Virginia, especially in the opener. West Virginia as a receiver that we focused on. That's a ability to make plays. Does the passing game get going? Somebody is we're using LeBron Smith. Somebody that plays both offense and what he does. Also plays gets hitting his hands. Rodney Gallagher but there are other ways that we can on that offense that let's get some others especially in the opener. Other West Virginia that we focused on. That's a ability does the passing game get going? Somebody we're using LeBron Smith. Somebody that plays both offense and what he does. Quarterback. Also gets hitting his hands. Rodney Gallagher conference. There are other ways that we can on this offense that let's get some others
Steffi's Country Catering prepares home-style made-from-scratch dishes that will have you convinced Mom made it. Whatever the occasion, Steffi's Country Catering will have you coming back for every event year-round. Find us on Facebook to place an order or to see our Sunday specials, or call 724-54-85047.
Where LeBron Smith was able to pick up a big first down on a 3rd and long. So that's one thing that I'm certainly going to be looking at tonight. Does the passing game get going? And is it because we're using the strength of LeBron Smith? While we still have an athletic quarterback, 40 seconds move around, and we saw what Rodney Gallagher did last week. Rodney Gallagher, an athlete that's is already committed to West Virginia. He's playing quarterback. LeBron Smith was able to pick up a West Virginia as a receiver on a 3rd and long. Use his athletic ability that I'm certainly going to be looking at tonight. Put pressure on that. Does the passing game get going? To see the same and is it because we're using the LeBron Smith of LeBron Smith? And he's an athletic quarterback. What that hopefully does is get more people involved. Some Rodney Gallagher did last week. Rodney Gallagher's game is get LeBron moving. Let's get some others that's already committed to West Virginia, especially in the opener. He's going to West Virginia as a receiver that we focused on. That's a ability that I'm certainly going to be looking at tonight. Does the passing game get going? Somebody who's very scenarios. We're using kudos to Kiski area in terms of what he does, what that hopefully does is get his hands, take Rodney, make the catch, last 20 yards. Other people on that offense moving, let's make some other changes. Tom Simmons, especially Rizzy Otis, certainly the West Virginia person that we focus on as a positive play. The guy that we does the passing, I think, can help get going. Somebody is talking about somebody that plays both in terms of what he does, also what he does is gets his hands, Rodney makes a capture, there are other ways that we can on that offense that's let's get some other Simmons as well. Rizzy Otis is a person that we focus on as a positive play. The guy that we already have does the passing, I think, can help get going. Somebody is we're talking about 2 minutes where somebody that plays from in terms of what he does, quarterback. Also, gets his hands, Rodney makes a capture, last year, there are other ways that we can on that offense let's get some other Simmons picks up the knocked out of bounds around the 28-yard line. Tackle made by Dom Danino.
Whatever the occasion, Steffi's Country
Looks to be about a gain of 9. So there's a player that we did not mention in our pregame. Eric Weeks, the 5'11" senior wide receiver, but he's making his presence felt here with 2 solid runs. Hampton's faced with a 2nd and 1 from the 29. Weeks again in motion. Fake to Weeks. Borgo's going to keep it. LeBron Smith was able to pick up a big first down on Joey Mayer. So that's one thing that I'm certainly going to be looking at tonight. His own lineman. Does the passing game get going? And is it because we're using the strength of LeBron Smith? While we still have an athletic quarterback, 40 seconds move around, and we saw what Rodney Gallagher did last year for the opening kickoff. An athlete just under 10 minutes to go. Hampton comes out in a tight formation. That's Mayer. Weeks in motion. Gives the Borgo. Borgo works his way up the field, down to about the 25-yard line. Several blue jerseys in on the tackle there, but a little too late as a new set of downs for Hampton. Talbots down to the 25-yard line now, 1st and 10. Weeks in motion. Mayer fakes, looks, fires, and he's got a man wide open. That is a touchdown. Benny Hasselrig with the reception. Isaiah Gonzalez was unable to stay with him. Don't know if he bid on the play action or if it just was a great job by Hasselrig. Perfect throw and catch. And just like that, Hampton's on the board. The extra point by number 30, that is Luke Fiskus, is good. And with 9:15 remaining in the opening quarter, the Talbots lead 7-0. So we talked about an injury in the defensive backfield to Xavier Ford, but it was a guy that we're used to seeing out there, Isaiah Gonzalez, who was in on that coverage. And unfortunately for the Cavaliers, Gonzalez was unable to come up with it. So let's see what the Kiski area offense can do. Trailing 7-0 here. Back deep to receive for the Cavaliers. as usual, old Dom and new Dom. Dom Danino, number 4 on the far side. New Dom, transfer from Valley. Dom Simmons, number 11 here on the near side.
Okay, this is Brock.
Set the kick is Brock Borgo.
Showing up from his 40. For the Talbots.
One too many men on the field. Nope, he comes back on. As the Talbots coaches recount, and no, you're good. Borgo. Good kick down to the 5-yard line. Danino on the right side has a room. He's still on his feet and brought down out of bounds around the 37-yard line. So a nice return of 32 yards by Dom Danino. And the Cavaliers will take over for the first time tonight. 1st and 10 from the 37.
32-yard return for Danino.
As we mentioned in the pregame, Deshaun McBride getting his first carry,
8-yard line.
leading the Cavaliers in carries last week. Saw him out on the field, but he is not in the backfield here to start. It's Connor Flem behind LeBrin Smith, and the give is to Flem, and the Flem works his way up the middle, across the 40, and down around the 42. So we'll call it a pickup of 4 yards. We mentioned McBride and now Connor Flem, both runners, averaging over 5 yards a carry last week. Flem is now off the field, and McBride is now on the field. And the give is to McBride. McBride is going to go the right side, and that is our first run that we've seen go outside. Don't know if it was a design run or not, but great job by Deshaun McBride to get across midfield and pick up a first down for the Cavaliers.
That's what you got to do. Get one play at a time, get the 4 or 5 yards, and then a very manageable second down.
Kiski area, decent running attack last week as they put up 125 yards on the ground. Here's LeBrin Smith. He's going to pass now. He's pressured quickly, and he's forced to roll out, and he's brought down at the 46. So we touched on it in the pregame. Can we get LeBrin Smith moving out of that pocket in terms of design rollouts where we can use his athleticism? That wasn't the case there. Straight drop back. LeBrin was faced with pressure off his left side, and that's basically where all his options were to throw. He tried to retreat to the right. Unfortunately, a loss of 8 brings up 2nd and 18. Now back in Cavalier territory at the 47. Hand off to McBride, and he has nowhere to go. Hit and brought down immediately at the 45-yard line. So a loss of 2.
Well, now you have to have a big play after that. The Hampton defense read that exactly. They saw maybe Smith should have went for a fake there or something. It was clear as day. Get the snap, go right to McBride.
When you're running out of the shotgun, those defensive ends just sit there and fire in. It's very hard. Here's Smith. Looking, firing down the field. It's a high one, and it is short. And fortunately for the Cavaliers, it wasn't picked off. Dom Simmons, the intended receiver, but several white jerseys in front of him. And the same old song for the Cavaliers offense there at the finish, in that no short passing, no intermediate routes. When it's time to throw, let's try to hit something big. And Hampton was there waiting. And the Cavaliers are forced to punt. There's Connor Flem. High, wobbly kick. Bounces at the 21, takes a Cavalier bounce. Inside the 10, and it'll be down around the 8-yard line. So decent punt and a great roll, and Hampton will take over deep in their own territory.
That was a 48-yard punt with no return.
48-yard punt.
That's a nice number, especially at the high school level.
I would say probably 10 of that was on roll at least, but certainly it looks good in the stat sheet.
You got to get that spin right. The spin is right.
That's one of the changes that we talked about in the pregame. Connor Flem now doing the punting and had 3 good efforts last week. Here's a handoff to 22. That's Borgo, and Borgo finds the corner before he's knocked out of bounds by Brennan Moore. Cavaliers coaches in the booth over to the left of us, not very happy as I can hear them through our headset screaming at somebody on that Cavaliers defense. New set of downs for Hampton. The Talbots are now at the 25-yard line. Quarterback keeper, Mayer, has nowhere to go on that right side as he's immediately stuffed. That's Connor Flem, Brennan Moore, and TJ Phelps. No gain on the play. Brings up 2nd and 10. We have just over 6 minutes to go in the opening quarter. The Talbots lead 7-0. This is their second possession on offense. It's a high snap over the head. Meyer looking for a place to run. He avoided 1 or 2 tackles, but there were at least 6 or 7 Kiski jerseys. Give Mayer credit. That was a bouncing ball that he was able to grab pretty quickly, and he eluded at least 2, if not 3, would-be tacklers.
I got to give him credit there for being able to get to the ball. That was such a bad snap.
3rd and 21. Here's Mayer in the gun. Rolling to his left, settles. Nope. He's hit and brought down. That's Jack Kreider, but flag on the play as it looked like Kreider grabbed the helmet.
Jack Kreider, there's a flag on the play.
3rd and 21 from the 13-yard line. Mayer had nowhere to go, but unfortunately Jack Kreider pretty obviously grabbed the helmet, face mask of Mayer. Unfortunately, and Hampton will move forward a good bit and get another chance at picking up this first down. Ball will be spotted at the 25 now. So we'll bring up about a 3rd and 10. Here's Mayer. He has 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Lone receiver near side, that's Borgo. On the coverage, that's LeBrin Smith. Mayer's going to go to the left. He had a man down the seam. That was Benny Hasselrig. But well over the outstretched hand. And Hampton's going to be forced to punt. Was watching Borgo on his route at the bottom of the screen. And we touched on Xavier Ford being out of the game, who would be in coverage. And that was LeBrin Smith. So another change and question answered. Here's Borgo. Nice high punt. Dom Danino calls for the fair catch at the 41. 34-yard punt by Brock Borgo. And the Cavaliers offense will come out on the field for the second time today. Let's see if the Cavaliers can stick with the running game We saw Connor Flem on the first carry pick up a solid 4 or 5 yards, was taken out of the game. Deshaun McBride was brought in, picked up a solid 10. Then he was taken out. So a lot of changes as we give to McBride here. And McBride sees nothing but white jerseys as he's brought down well behind the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go. Loss of 4. Or let's say a long 3, so brings up 2nd and 13 from the 39.
Yeah, that's rough though. Hampton's D line is just cutting through Kiski's offensive line right now. A mismatch, that's for sure.
Here's Smith. Excuse me, that's Dom Danino. Direct snap. To the 5'9", 155, Dom Danino in the shotgun when he gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and Kiski is faced with a 3rd and 10.
You have to wonder when Smith will attempt his first pass. Or attempt another pass. They did have.
You have to wonder many things.
Yeah, you have to
Mason.
wonder.
You have to wonder many things.
Always wondering something.
There's always something to wonder here. Smith, quick pass. Nowhere near the hands of Dom Simmons. And the Cavaliers punting team will come out again. Kiski area continues to run on the shotgun, straight up the middle. Continues to have LeBrin Smith stand in the shotgun behind center and make stationary throws, and the offense continues to fail as Connor Flem gets off a punt, and again a Kiski bounce as it continues to spin inside the 10.
See if we get another look at that.
We talked about in the pregame, as you cue that up, about the Kiski offense through 3 games, averaging 1 touchdown in 3 games, with a total of 42 passing yards in their last 2. The trends continue here through the first quarter as Kiski struggling to move the ball, now back on defense.
I wonder if it's a home or away thing, because on the road, the run game at least had a few more signs of life.
That's one speculation that you could put on it, as Mayer is pressured, but he's still on his feet. He's still on his feet. He's looking and fires out of bounds. So great job by Joey Mayer, as he was able to avoid several Kiski area tacklers and avoid a big loss. Brings up 2nd and 10. Excuse me. Is there a flag on the play? So how is the ball at the 30-yard line when the punt went the whole way back to the 9? Loss here in the booth as Borgo works his way up the left side near the first down marker. I saw nothing on the field. Connor Flem's punt was clearly down inside the 10-yard line, yet somehow Hampton was at the 31-yard line.
I didn't get the number, but it looked like maybe there was a blue jersey with the kicked the punt after it hit the ground.
Okay.
They were saying it's not a great angle.
So it might have been touched
seeing.
by a Kiski player prior to that bounce, is what you're saying.
That's my guess. It was right around there where it hit the ground first, and
that makes sense, as Hampton did indeed pick up the first down. Borgo shakes through an arm tackle. Good job by Dom Danino to come in there and cut out his legs. Right at midfield as Borgo picks up 9 strong yards.
2nd down and 1.
Watching a Hampton offense moving the ball consistently on this Cavaliers defense, except for this play, as Borgo is immediately hit and I believe gets back to the line of scrimmage. That spot is at the 50, so no gain. We'll bring up a 3rd and long 1. No huddle for Hampton here while they're in no quick hurry. No huddle as they get the signals from the sideline. Here's a handoff to Borgo. Borgo finds room off the right side. Across the 45. Brought down by number 25 for the Cavaliers, Landon Kusick. Not before. Hampton picks up another first down.
At this point, it's just another Hampton first down, unfortunately.
We use that term Groundhog Day many times throughout the first 3 contests, and right now it's applying. Here's a fake to Borgo, and Mayer escapes Dom Simmons, and he picks up a big run as he's brought down by Deshaun McBride inside the 30, but not before picking up a solid 13-14 yards and another first down. Dom Simmons, very good athlete there. And again, credit Joey Mayer as he was able to escape. Kiski area calls a timeout with 45 seconds remaining in the opening quarter, and certainly some things need to be discussed as the Cavaliers are down 7-0 right now, and Hampton is driving.
Yeah, I'll have to get the numbers on Borgo right now, but he's eating his way toward 100.
Certainly refreshing if you're a Hampton fan to see one player being given the ball consistently, able to get into the flow of the game and get something going, and certainly you see a lot of different things going on here by this Hampton offense, keeping Kiski area on their heels as Mayer and Borgo and the rest of the Talbots offense pretty much doing as they please right now. 1st and 10 from the 28. Here's Mayer. Quick toss to Borgo. Borgo, a pitch. Outside. And brought down by number 1, that's Isaiah Gonzalez. And that should be the final play of the first quarter. Play clock at 30, game clock at 25. We'll see what Hampton does. Again, not in the huddle. Mayer getting his signals from the field. He's going to line up, and no, Hampton will run another play. And that's Borgo busting his way through the line, high-stepping down to the 15-yard line, and another first down. So I think it's safe to say with 3 seconds to go, that will be the final play of the opening quarter as Hampton leads 7-0. You are listening to the High Top Sports Network.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. We're here tonight at the Richard G. Snyder YMCA.
Steve-O. Woo! Guys, that's right. It's $5 Sushi Wednesday.
Produce sale. Bananas. 45 cents a pound.
Pork turkeys. You know why we're doing pork turkeys? We're doing a fundraiser.
The meat keeps on rolling the Harry Sprankle.
You know what day it is today. It is Sushi Wednesday. $5 sushi rolls today.
We're getting inspired. Come on. Help me. Hashtag save on me.
And we're pumped up because we are less than 24 hours away from Camp Out for Community tomorrow. Like and share, like and share. So like and share, like and share. Help spread the word. Make sure you like and share. We can't do what we do without you.
Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Welcome back to Richard Dilts Field as Hampton is driving. Here's Mayer, fires, complete in the end zone. That pass is caught by Benny Hasselrig. And another touchdown pass by Joey Mayer. And Hampton extends its lead to 13. Great play action by Joey Mayer. Benny Hasselrig had the inside on LeBrin Smith. And not much he could do as a perfect ball was thrown. And Hampton finds the end zone again. 14-0, just starting the second quarter. Kiski area trails in the 4A Greater Allegheny Conference opener.
69 yards in 3 minutes and 13 seconds, capped off a 15-yard pass play.
Long drive by the Hampton Talbots. Let's see what the Cavaliers can come up with now. Watching head coach Sam Albert and LeBrin Smith having what looks to be a somewhat animated discussion here on the sideline. Both player and coach go completely opposite directions and settle in far away from each other. Not sure what the discussion was about, but one and or both parties were not happy as Hampton gets set to kick. This is Brock Borgo. Back to receive for the Cavaliers, Danino and Simmons. Danino is near side, Simmons is far side. And the kick is on the ground. A bouncer still going as Brennan Moore falls on it around the 26-yard line. Kiski area offense takes the field again, trailing 14-0. And we talked about that bend but don't break. Well, the defense has been broken twice in 3 chances. They certainly need something to gain some momentum. Here's a little confusion play, as I believe this ball should be coming near side to Connor Flem. That was what the play design was. And a wild throw over the head of Connor Flem. It was explained to me that the read on that play is when you see the Kiski side, the near side, have more players than the Hampton side, that ball is supposed to go in that direction. Kiski area, it looked like they had 5 players and Hampton had 4. So I believe that was supposed to be a designed quick throw to Connor Flem. I'd love to watch that on replay and or see it again on film work. This time, again, 4 Kiski players. Nope, LeBrin Smith's going to go to the left, and he's going to throw again too far. This time, pass was intended for McBride. Now, I know there's many variations off of that formation, so it's not necessarily have to go to that side, but again, I believe the read is count how many players your team has versus how many players the other team has, and if you have more, go to that side. Unfortunately, neither time it worked, as Kiski's faced with a 3rd and 10. 4 wide receivers for the Cavaliers. LeBrin Smith looking, rolling, pressured, firing, and it's caught. Completed at the 42-yard line. Catch was made by Dom Danino. So there we go. It was not a designed rollout. But LeBron Smith was able to use his athleticism, improvise a bit, and find an open receiver.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. LeBron it's the first pass you completed all night so far, and it couldn't come at a better time because the defense, at this point it's pretty much broken.
Big first down for the Cavaliers as they are up to the 43-yard line now. Here's a handoff to Connor Flem. The man on his back, gets across the 45-yard line. Another gain of 4 yards.
For Hampton, that's a gain of a long 3.
And again, we see a successful run, and we see that successful player come off the field.
Yeah, interesting tactic.
Very interesting, as now we have Landon Kusick coming to game.
First we've seen Kusick so far on the offensive side.
Shift in the Kiski formation. And the give is to Kusick, and the ball is on the ground. Either a bad handoff or head scratching. That's certainly for sure. As Hampton comes up with the ball, and Kiski will go on defense.
At the 45.
Here we go again with the head scratching offense by Kiski area. Looking at the stats last week, Landon Kusick ran the ball 4 times for 9 yards. Connor Flem and Deshaun McBride, well over 100. Well over 5 yards a carry. So far,
at
the stats, Flem and McBride doing their job running the ball. For some reason, we go to Kusick, and now Hampton takes over. An incomplete pass. Great coverage down the field. I believe that was Barton Martin. Barton Martin getting his first varsity action, running stride for stride with the receiver there. LeBron Smith is not on the field. So as we mentioned in the pregame, those 2 players were expected to fill in for the injured Xavier Ford, and give Barton Martin some credit there. His first varsity action. He shuts down that pass as Hampton's faced with 2nd and 10. Here's a toss to Borgo. Borgo has the outside. He's still on his feet. Was initially tripped up by Don Danino. And Borgo muscles his way to what might be a Hampton first down. Again, very refreshing to watch an offense change some things up with their running game. Some tosses on the outside, keeping the defense on their heels, and indeed, the Talbots do pick up a first down. Great individual effort by Brock Borgo there.
Better get my calculator ready here.
Here's a give to Eric Weeks. Weeks, his first carry since the opening play. And no gain on this one.
2nd down.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Just over 9 minutes to go in the opening half. Make sure you stay tuned to the High Top Sports Network as we have the Shevlin Concrete Construction halftime show and the award-winning Kiski area Cavalier Marching Band. Here's Mayer looking, firing. The pass was incomplete. Knocked down by all-conference safety Don Danino. A little bit underthrown, but great job by Danino to get up there and get a hand on it.
Okay, there's the other look for it. Danino taking that inside edge on the receiver.
Pass was intended for Eric Weeks. We get a late flag against the Cavaliers. Personal foul, hands to the face. And that negates a very solid effort by the Cavaliers defense on that play, as Hampton is now down to the Cavalier 20-yard line. Here's Mayer. Hand off to Borgo. Borgo up the middle, flag on the play. Borgo down to the 15-yard line.
Flem at the bottom of that pile. And Klein also for the Cavaliers.
I believe that was Colin Klein and Connor Flem on the tackle. At least they were the two that got up off the field there. Flag goes against Hampton. So the Talbots offense will be pushed back to the 30-yard line. And it'll be a 1st and 20. Here's Mayer in the gun. Toss to Borgo. Borgo eludes Deshaun McBride, hurdles a man. And he's back to the original line of scrimmage and more. Brock Borgo continues his strong running. Man down on the play for the Cavaliers. That's Colin Klein. And he looks to be hurt. Holding his knee, smacking the ground. While the medical staff attends to Klein, let's take a quick break. 8:23 remaining. You're listening to the High Top Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. DeMond, owner of DeMond Chiropractic, the third-generation chiropractic clinic located in McGrann, Pennsylvania, founded in 1947 by my grandfather, John R. DeMond Sr. We would love to help you achieve your healthcare goals and carry on the proud tradition that we offer here in Armstrong County. Give us a call, 724-763-8000.
Welcome back to Richard Diltz Field. Injury to Colin Klein. He was able to kind of hop off with some help, as I said, from medical staff, so hopefully he's okay. Here's Mayer. Fakes the toss to Borgo, and Mayer's going to keep it, and he is going to go virtually untouched into the end zone. Brennan Moore, with a desperation dive, tried to find the feet of Mayer around the 5-yard line, and Mayer cruised into the end zone as Hampton continues to cruise here, stretching their lead to 20. And again, Groundhog Day here for us as we see yet another touchdown be negated by a penalty. Holding call against Hampton. I say Groundhog Day because if any of you have listened to us through the first 3 games, we've had a handful of touchdowns called back by penalties. Yes, indeed. Here's Mayer looking, throwing, and it's picked off. Brennan Moore intercepts the pass intended for Benny Hasselrig. And Brennan Moore gives this crowd a little bit of life, and hopefully his Cavaliers teammates, as Kiski area takes over at the 42-yard line. Great job by Brennan Moore. Brennan Moore, the 5'10 junior, getting his first varsity action this season, and certainly has been steady, to say the least, for the Cavaliers defense. Comes up with a big turnover here in Kiski area with their best field position of the night. Tom Simmons in motion, and as the handoff goes to McBride, a flag comes out. False start by the Cavaliers offense. So the Cavaliers are pushed back, and they'll try the first down again. 1st and 15 now from the 37. Here's Smith in the gun. He has two options wide, and McBride behind him. The handoff is to McBride. McBride follows Connor Jordan's block, and he picks up a few. Number 40, Connor Jordan, leading the way for Deshaun McBride, as McBride picked up 3 there. Brings up 2nd and 12. Same formation. 2 wide receivers. McBride in the backfield. This time, Smith will throw. Stands, looks, and misfires. Well short. Intended receiver, Isaiah Gonzalez. So, Groundhog Day continues. Should we start singing the song?
I don't know.
I think every single time the snap is, "When put your little hand in mine."
It's just unfortunate to see it. You know, the Cavaliers aren't sticking to what works. You get the solid power run. If you rely on that power running game to get 6 or 7 yards on the first down, then you have a couple plays to do some things and get the other 4.
3rd and 12 as Dom Simmons in motion takes the little pitch, and he takes a seat. Dom Simmons goes backwards, and put your little hand in mine. The Cavaliers the Cavaliers offense exit the field, and the Cavaliers punt team takes the field. Big turnover, interception by Brennan Moore, leads to negative yards. Kiski area is forced to punt. Connor Flynn. Heavy pressure, and it is blocked. The second block punt of the season. Immediately recovered by the Talbots as the man who blocked the punt basically caught the punt. He was standing and waiting. Nobody blocking. And now the Cavaliers defense is backed up. 23-yard line. That's where Joey Mayer will take over. Mayer with Borgo to his left. And the toss goes to Borgo. Borgo tries the hurdle. Isaiah Gonzalez. Gonzalez makes the tackle. The ball comes out. It was recovered by the Cavaliers, but referee right on the spot said Borgo was down. Immediately recovered by the Talbots as the man who blocked the punt, or basically caught the punt. Talbots. He was standing and waiting. Possession. 2nd and 4. 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Hampton deep in Cavaliers territory. Mayer with Borgo to his right. Mayer's going to run. Still on his feet, but nowhere to go. Great job by the Cavaliers defense to stretch that out for Dom Danino to come up from his safety spot and make a tackle. Now we have a man down for Hampton. And again, first sign does not look good as that Hampton player doesn't look very comfortable. So as the Hampton medical staff takes care of the injured player, we'll take another break. You're listening to the High Top Sports Network.
Armstrong Indoor Athletics, located at 132 South Grand Street Avenue in downtown Katanning, offers a state-of-the-art training facility and top-tier instruction by experienced coaches to help turn your youngster into the best baseball or softball player they can be. Batting cage and bullpen lane rentals are available for 30 to 60-minute sessions, and you can also sign your baseball or softball player up for private hitting, pitching, fielding, and catching instruction with our knowledgeable staff. Be sure to visit Armstrong Indoor Athletics online at aia.team or call them at 724-599-9761 for more information today.
Welcome back to Richard Diltz Field, where unfortunately the injured Hampton player is still down. Tried to watch it here on our monitor and couldn't quite make out what number the player was. Definitely not a good scene here, as you never want to see any player go down, but in this situation, the Hampton player does not look good in terms of an obvious pain. So we certainly want to wish him well and hope for the best. Right now, Kiski area is trailing 14-0. When we return to action, the Hampton offense will take the field at the 17-yard line and will be faced with a third and roughly 4 or 5 yards. Kiski area desperately needing a stop here, as it's been all Hampton tonight. Cavaliers were saved on the last Hampton possession, as what would have been the third touchdown of the day was called back due to a holding penalty. And then fortunately for the Cavaliers, Brennan Moore roughly 4 or 5 yards was able to intercept Kiski, the Joey Mayer pass. Otherwise, Kiski area would be faced with a 3-score deficit. We talked about it in the pregame, and it continues tonight. There were several things that we were going to watch for the Cavaliers on offense and defense. Changes in personnel and changes in packages, changes in play calls. We've seen it all tonight, and the major thing we haven't seen is changes in play call.
Yeah.
The same old for the Kiski offense so far through basically a quarter and a half, as every single time McBride or Flem have success in the running game, that player is pulled, and Kiski attempts something different that does not work.
Yeah, especially the passing. The pass hasn't worked. You've completed one pass for 15 yards and a first down. Okay, yeah, that's great. No,
it was a broken play. To your point, it was a broken play that LeBrin Smith's athleticism was able to, build on, if you would, or able to capitalize on. The running game has had flashes of success with McBride and Flem. And then on the last series, we saw Kusik's first handoff, and don't know if it was a bad exchange or what, but all hit the ground, and Hampton took over, and that's where we're at right now. Give the Borgo, and he was hit in the backfield, but was able, as he's done several times tonight, to avoid a tackle and muscle his way forward. No gain, but it would have been a significant loss, so good job by Brock Borgo. 4th down, and the field goal unit comes out for the Talbots, as this will be a 30-plus yard field goal. The kick is up, and it looks like it is wide left. So bend but don't break. That's exactly what the Kiski area defense did, as they get a big stop and a big missed field goal.
You're not keeping any more points off the board. So I'm not sure why they put 2 more on the score.
Hey, listen, Babe Ruth struck out every once in a while. Scorekeeper.
Keeping any more points off the board is
yeah, the Cavaliers,
key right here.
The Cavaliers players and coaches were probably freaking out. Don't put up any more points than what's already up there. 14-0. Kiski area trails. 4:47 remaining as the offense is now on the field. This is Smith in the gun with Flem behind him. Smith looking for Danino, and he finds him. Danino avoids a tackle, he's still on his feet, across the 35 and up to the 37. Don Danino coming from his inside position, finding a crease. And LeBron Smith was able to find him. So again, another completion, a second completion.
There we go, right again. Would you call that a broken play too? As he had to come back toward the line of scrimmage.
1st and 10 from the 38. Here's Smith handing off to McBride. And McBride fights through an arm tackle before being brought down around the 41-42 yard line. We'll call it a gain of 3 as the nose of the ball just barely touching that 41 yard line.
That's got to be the key right there. Get McBride some more of these 3 or 4 yard runs. That's all you need.
Keep feeding those power backs, exactly. Nice hard count by LeBron Smith. And there's a flag on the play as several Talbot defenders jumped across the line. So what would have been a 2nd and 7 will turn into a 2nd and 2.
It looked like everybody jumped along the line.
3:32 remaining in the opening half. Kiski area trails 14-0. 2nd and 2 from the 46. Here's LeBron Smith. Smith looking right, fires into the hands of Isaiah Gonzalez. Great throw, right on the money. As Isaiah Gonzalez pulls it in and moves the Cavaliers down to the 29 yard line.
And the Cavaliers are on the move.
2 straight completions by LeBron Smith.
Balls at the 32
And the Cavaliers offense
25 yards.
continues the march. 3 minutes remaining in the opening half. Same formation for the Cavaliers. Smith hands off to McBride. McBride, left side. He had one man to beat, but he was tripped up by number 17, Sean Donian. We'll call it a gain of 6, as that brings up a 2nd and 4. Again, it looks like the same formation. Gonzalez and Danino, the wideouts, and a handoff to McBride. And McBride powers his way near the 20. That's Braden Micah, who lost his helmet. He's going to be forced out for the next play. As in comes in big number 72, Luke Early.
That's a gain of 5.
Gain of 5 for Deshaun McBride. And finally, we see the Cavaliers offense show some consistency to one runner.
2 minutes left, first half.
As 3 consecutive carries go to Deshaun McBride. And now we have a timeout by Hampton.
Timeout
1:50 remaining in the opening half. The Cavaliers will be faced with a 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Interesting calling of the timeout there by Hampton. Of course, you got to get your defense together, try to prevent Kiski from putting points on the board before the half. But anytime stopping that clock or keeping the clock stopped, giving Kiski extra time to draw up what could be a spectacular play to get into the end zone.
Kiski area with by far its best offensive series of the night. This would be a huge touchdown if the Cavaliers are able to find the end zone, as what would have been a 21-0 deficit would all of a sudden be simply 14-7. Cavaliers defense coming up with a big turnover and a big stop and missed field goal on the following series. And now the offense is trying to back them up as they're deep in the Talbots territory. Again, by far the best drive for the Cavaliers offense so far. Here's Smith. Looking, rolling, fires out of bounds. So what appeared to be a design play call, there's only two options for LeBron Smith to throw to. One far left, one far right. The moment he starts moving to his right, he has one option. So I don't understand how you trying to be successful or put your team in a successful situation where immediately when he rolls, the only option he has is 30 yards down the field with 3 or 4 white jerseys.
Yeah, that's tough.
Here's a handoff to McBride. McBride again, this time to the right side, is tripped up by number 17. That's Sean Donlin. McBride's able to pick up, I believe, 4, maybe a long 3. So however you want to phrase that, Kiski area down to the 17-yard line. Just over a minute to go. Cavaliers trail 14-0. Flem now in the backfield with McBride out ahead. 2 receivers to the left, 1 near side, which is Dom Simmons. And we have another timeout by Hampton. So I think that was the first time we've seen that formation with maybe at least with those personnel. We might have seen that formation earlier, but with not with that specific personnel. Flem in the backfield to the left of LeBron Smith and Deshaun McBride up ahead. 2 wide receivers on the far side, 1 near side. Hampton didn't like something, and they called their second timeout with 54 seconds to go.
That's the way to go. A different play, different formation, confuse the Talbots a little bit.
54 seconds remaining in the second quarter as both teams get their final strategies in play. Stay tuned to us for the Shevlin Concrete Construction halftime show. Shevlin Concrete Construction joining us for the second year on the High Top Sports Network. Extremely grateful to have them be a part of our network. Here's Cavaliers, a big third down here, facing a 14-0 deficit as LeBron Smith is going to find pressure. He eludes it, going to his left, still on his feet, still going, but now he's going to go to the ground. LeBron Smith did a good job to elude the first 2 Talbot defenders, and that is a situation where you got to get rid of the ball. You have to. The Cavaliers were down to the 17-yard line. Would have been a 34-yard field goal. Huge loss pushes the Cavaliers back to the 26 now. And now the Cavaliers are going to be faced with a big decision. Do you attempt a 43-yard field goal, trailing 14-0, or do you go for it on 4th and 7? Excuse me, 4th and 17. I apologize. A very, very, very bad sack there. Brandon Smith did a great job to avoid the initial rush. The defender on the left side came in untouched. He was able to work his way out of that tackle, stepped up, and there was another would-be tackler there. As I see Kiski area kicker Connor Flem standing next to Coach Albert. And that's the key point in that sentence. Kicker on the sideline and Cavalier offense out. So 4th and 17 with 38 seconds to go. Here's Smith. Looking right. He's forced up into the pocket. He's brought down. The ball comes out. And Kiski area will gain no points.
What do you even think the point of that is?
You can answer that question yourself.
Yeah, maybe you try to make Hampton use a timeout, or you try to trick him and then you call your own timeout and bring the kicker out. Got to get rid of the ball. I mean, that's...
Throw it up for grabs, do something.
We talk about the Hail Mary all the time. You see Kiski run a Hail Mary type play right there.
Then put your little hands in mine. Here's Borgo. Brought down by Flem, but not before he drags the 6', 220-pound senior linebacker for at least 2 or 3 yards. Flem was on his back, but the legs were still free, and Borgo, as we see numerous times tonight, churned his way forward, and that will be the final play of the first half. As Kiski area will go into the locker room trailing 14-0. We are going to take a quick break here and get set for the Shevlin Concrete Construction halftime show as we see the Kiski area band make its way to the field. Stay tuned as we'll bring you all the tremendous music and certainly stats and analysis on the Shevlin Concrete Construction halftime show. You're listening to the High Top Sports Network.
Tonight's presentation of high school football on High Top Sports Network is presented by the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. Principles put into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all.
Steffi's Country Catering prepares home-style made-from-scratch dishes that will have you convinced Mom made it. Whatever the occasion, Steffi's Country Catering will have you coming back for every event year-round. Find us on Facebook to place an order or to see our Sunday specials, or call 724-54-85047.
Welcome back to Richard Diltz Field here and the Shevlin Concrete Construction halftime show. Shevlin Concrete Construction is Western PA's choice for customized driveways, floors, patios, and more. Named the 2020 winner of Trip Total Media's Best Construction Company, Shevlin Concrete Construction has more than 25 years of experience. You can stand on craftsmanship, integrity, and traditions with Shevlin Concrete Construction. Call today for a free estimate and design consultation at 724-681-4526 or like them on Facebook. That's Shevlin Concrete Construction, 724-681-4526. if you're not using concrete, it's your own asphalt.
What a catchphrase right there.
Incredible, is it not? So we are going to pause here. I'm sure you've heard us a little too much, or maybe not enough, but we'll be back. I want to throw it out to the Kiski area marching band. Enjoy, everyone.
This year's show is inspired by a variety of music, including Henry Purcell's Funeral March for Queen Mary, J.S. Bach's Mass in B minor, Bach's Little Fugue in G minor, and the title track of the Netflix series, The Haunting of Hill House, written by the Newton Brothers. In our second production, which will be performed first tonight, you will hear soloist Amber Orowitz on clarinet and Dave Shevlin on alto saxophone. In the third production, you will also hear from Sophie Smetana and Carly Shoup on bass clarinet. The band is supported by our outstanding color guard with 39 members strong. The Kiski Area Marching Band will compete at the Yacht High School next Saturday, September 24th. And on October 8th, we'll travel to the University of Delaware to defend their Bands of America Mid-Atlantic Regional Championship. As soon as the front ensemble is fired up and ready to go, we'll be right back.
Hey, Kiski! Something to remember! We just don't play instruments! We play music!
Stuff in your face.
Make me say wow.
I'm just standing.
Make me say wow.
Doesn't my presence just do?
It does, but I have to critique your kids on Monday. They walk in my room. I'm going to tell them what I think. Yeah. You tell me what you want me to say.
Mic away from the conversation.
Now, without further ado, performing movements 2 and 3 of the show entitled Corners of My Mind, here is the Kiski Area High School Marching Band. and gentlemen, the Kiski High School Marching Band. On behalf of the entire Kiski area Marching Band and Instrumental Boosters, we'd like to thank everyone for watching us this evening, and we look forward to playing for you again.
Hi, I'm Dr. DeMond, owner of DeMond Chiropractic, third generation chiropractic clinic located in McGrann, Pennsylvania, founded in 1947 by my grandfather, John R. DeMond Sr. We would love to help you achieve your healthcare goals and carry on the proud tradition that we offer here in Armstrong County. Give us a call, 724-763-8000.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. We're here tonight at the Richard G. Snyder YMCA.
T-Bone. Guys, that's right. It's $5 Sushi Wednesday. Produce sale. Bananas. 45 cents a pound.
Pork turkeys. You know why we're doing pork turkeys? We're doing a fundraiser.
The meat keeps on rolling, the hair is sprankled.
You know what day it is today. It is Sushi Wednesday. $5 sushi rolls today.
We're getting inspired. Come on and help the hashtag Save the Meat. And we're pumped up because we are less than 24 hours away from Camp Out for Community tomorrow. Like and share, like and share. So like and share, like and share. Help spread the word. Just make sure you like and share. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Bye.
Welcome back to the High Top Sports Network here at Richard Dilts Field, as we are about 8 minutes away from the second half kickoff. Again, want to give a shout out to the Kiski area marching band. Great job as always. As fun as it is to hear the band and see the kids get rewarded for all their hard work, it's also disappointing watching the crowd. I'd say half, 2/5 of them disappear like there's nothing else going on other than the band. I would love to see if football fans would disappear when the band was out. So, but I digress. You're listening to the Shevlin Concrete Construction halftime show. Again, want to thank Shevlin Concrete Construction and his guys. Shevlin Concrete Construction is Western PA's choice for customized driveways, floors, patios, and more. Named the 2020 winner of the Trib Total Media Best Construction Company. Shevlin Concrete Construction has more than 25 years of experience. You can stand on craftsmanship, integrity, and traditions with Shevlin Concrete Construction. Call today for a free estimate and design consultation at 724-681-4526, or like them on Facebook. That's Shevlin Concrete Construction, 724-681-4526. If you're not using concrete, it's your own asphalt. Some stats from the first half, unofficial in that Mason, our do-it-all man Flanagan, running the camera, queuing up commercials, giving us some great color and keeping stats, has Brock Borgo for Hampton, 13 carries for 106 yards. Also for Hampton, Benny Hasselrig, 2 touchdowns for the senior wideout. On the flip side, Kiski area, leading rusher Deshaun McBride, 8 for 29. From there, Connor Flem, 2 for 8 yards. Passing, LeBrin Smith, 3 of 9 for 58 yards. 2 of those passes to Dom Danino for 34 yards and 1 to Isaiah Gonzalez for 24 yards. So, again, if you listen to the first half, then put your little hands in mine. The trend continues for the Kiski offense as not much going on. We've seen some consistency in that last drive. Kiski area going to McBride several times, and the running back carousel for that drive had ended as Kiski area had 5 different players carry the ball. 6 if you want to count LeBrin Smith. I don't, because I don't believe there's any designed runs for him. But 5 different players carrying the ball. The problem is 1 player with 1 carry, another player with 1 carry, another player with 1 carry, and another player with 2 carries. No consistency. Not allowing anybody to get any type of flow to the game.
Yeah, it's one play. You don't get the full scope of the game. You might go out, you might run one, and it might be one of the plays that you try to go up the middle. Okay, yes, but now okay, that's your first play. You just come off the sideline, or you just come onto the field with the offense. Now, then you're going to try it again. Maybe try going to the left or to the right instead.
How many times have we seen, to your point, Brock Borgo run the same type of toss to the right or toss to the left, and then Hampton build off of that with several different variations off that formation? Kiski area, the only variation they have is a basic shotgun handoff, somebody running up the middle. When that doesn't work, we bring in one of our small wide receivers and have them run up the middle. So certainly head-scratching, to say the least, for the Kiski offense.
Yeah, it is tough because Borgo, just comparing the 2 offenses, Borgo, if somebody's running the ball, it's him. It's not, okay, we're going to go to this other guy, which Hampton does have another guy. In the name of Weeks. Weeks has had a couple carries and almost 20 yards. So yes, you have got another guy you can look at, of course.
But they're feeding their horse.
Yeah, they're feeding the horse. Love the thought there.
Feeding the horse, and up until this point, there were no horses that Kiski was consistently feeding. We saw Deshaun McBride last week get his first carry, and then his first carries, as he had, I believe, 12 carries. He finished the game with 12 carries. So here's a guy that didn't get a carry through 2 games, all of a sudden get 12, and now all of a sudden he's your main go-to guy. Well, where was he the first 2 weeks? You had Landon Kusek, who, again, if this is your first time listening, or you're not a big fan of the Cavaliers in terms of having been able to tune in and watch consistently, the sophomore is coming off a torn ACL. He hasn't been successful, up to this point. He certainly showed some flashes, and coaching him back in the youth football days, the kid is athletic. The kid is energetic. He wants to be on the field. He's a football player. But up until this point, it's not working. The only thing that has been working on your offense is Deshaun McBride now in the last 2 games and Connor Flem, your power running game.
Yeah, and if you want Kusik to be your horse, then taking your term there, feed him. Give him 20 carries. Give him 30 carries.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Kiski will run the ball the whole game either way. So instead of giving everybody 5 to 10, spread them out, have 3 different running backs on a 4 or 5 play drive or 3 and out. Have a whole drive and just keep him out there. Let him experience the highs and lows of a good run, a bad run. Maybe you give a look to another guy, or you run a play with 2 backs in the backfield, and one acts more like a fullback and gives you a block. But Kiski's it's just hand it off and see what happens.
The same old Groundhog Day play calling.
And the song's going to be
a recurring theme. We'll keep it going as long as it continues. The 2 keys that I had coming into this game that I had discussed in the pregame were get others involved in terms of let's look in the passing game to find somebody other than Dom Danino. Tonight, we've seen Isaiah Gonzalez get 1 catch. I don't know if Dom Simmons was targeted on any. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I believe there was one that LeBrin Smith misfired. I think it was a quick pass or a screen to Dom Simmons. And then Dom Danino has 2. So the passing game and getting others involved, we haven't hit that yet. But how can we do that? The other key was get LeBrin Smith moving. We've seen LeBrin Smith standing in the pocket, having his troubles making some of the throws that are designed to be there, whether it be he's being pressured and or firing too short, his back leg, whatever it is. He hasn't been able to consistently make throws by standing in the pocket. We've seen him over the last 4 weeks be able to improvise while he's moving and find some open space to run the ball, to break the defense down, and find some open men down the field. Now, the one thing that he has to do, as we saw in that last drive, is he's got to be able to get rid of the ball. If you're pressured and there's nothing there, you got to throw it away. Now, that's a tough thing to ask because, if you're going to say, hey, this guy is an athlete, and you're going to say, hey, this guy can make plays for us, you're going to have to live and die by that sword. Meaning, if you're going to move him out of the pocket and you're going to ask him, to create some things with his legs, then certainly you're going to have to take be willing to take some negatives. But right now, they're not doing that. They're not moving him out of the pocket. They're having him stand there. So by that rationale, we can't afford, we as in the Kiski area offense, we can't afford to be going backwards. And as we saw in that last drive, Kiski area was deep in territory, had an opportunity to put some points up on the board, and they didn't even get a field goal attempt as what would have been a 34-yard field goal attempt or potential attempt turned into, this is a long 40-yarder, and we're just going to have to hope on 4th and long. Round of applause by the crowd here as the halftime clock was down to 0 and then back up to 3 minutes for some reason.
Yeah, they always have that 3 minutes on, and it's funny to notice. I wanted to butt in. Kiski, wonder what that conversation in the locker room is, because Hampton is out there. They've got their guys ready to go for the second half kickoff, and Kiski's nowhere to be seen. Are they stretching behind the stadium, perhaps, or is it that deep of a conversation in the locker room? Is Coach Albert throwing that big of a game plan change?
I would hope that there's some kind of discussion as Kiski has scored just 3 touchdowns by my math, 3.5 games. The Kiski offense they went 10 quarters without a touchdown from second game against Pine Richland to the final quarter last week against Lower Highlands. And here again, the trend continues as Kiski area is 0 for 2 quarters here. So 3 touchdowns in the last 14 quarters is not going to get it done. The defense bending but not breaking, trying to keep the Cavaliers in the ball game as they trail 14-0.
The way I see it, the defense has not broke at this point. If anything, they were broke early on when 2 of the first 3 Hampton drives ended up in the end zone, but then they just adjusted, and then
big turnover from Brendan Moore.
Yes, I don't know if that's duct tape together or welded together, but ever since early on, that one penalty taking the touchdown back off of when Kiski gave up that run by the Hampton quarterback Mayer for a touchdown, it was called back on the penalty. Ever since then, they've been solid, but we'll have to see at this point if it's a duct tape put back together and it'll break easily, or if the offense will be there to complement them. Maybe they give up a score or two, but make this a ball game here early on.
I don't think any amount of duct tape is going to fix the Kiski area offense right now. I think major changes are going to need to be made. The playbook has got to be thrown into the garbage, and something new has got to be designed.
Yeah.
Because, again, through 3.5 games, it is not working.
No more duct tape. You need to get
the duct tape. I think is okay. I think the duct tape's okay on the defensive side. I mean, you're exactly right. They've plugged some holes, and it hasn't always looked pretty, but it's held. And that's the same thing that's going on right now. The defense has held its ground enough, and the Cavaliers are still in this ball game as we get set for the second half kickoff. Thank you again to Shevlin Concrete Construction, as Dom Donino takes this ball at the 15-yard line, across the 30, the 40, the ball is loose, it's out of bounds. Fortunate for the Cavaliers, but unfortunately, there's a flag on the play, and indeed, it is against Kiski area. So the strong return by Dom Donino is going to be brought way back, and that Cavaliers offense we discussed so heavily comes out on to the field, deep in its own territory. Unfortunately, there's a flag on the play, and indeed, it is against Kiski area. Shevlin Concrete Construction. Again, thank you so much for joining us here on the High Top Sports Network. Another one of our proud sponsors, JT's Cuts, as our loyal listeners would know. Here again for the player of the game, so we'll mull that over as the Cavaliers offense starts with a handoff to Deshaun McBride. And put your little hand in mine. Deshaun McBride, straight up the middle, goes nowhere.
Yeah, the hand is in mine. Or
put your little hand in mine. Did you ever hear that song?
The little hand.
Maybe I'll play it in the pregame next week. Oh, we're on the road next week.
Maybe they take requests.
Kiski area, while I mention it, will be on the road next week at North Catholic. No gain on that last play. Ball is loose. And it is recovered by Hampton. It appeared that several players on the Kiski offense not moving. I don't know if you can cue that back up. It looked like several of the linemen got a late start. Obviously, timing was off. Not a good handoff. Again, I don't know if that was LeBrin Smith or Deshaun McBride, but the ball was out. And Hampton takes the field. We've got a timeout by Kiski area. So it went from bad to worse for the Cavaliers. Opening drive of the second half. Turnover. And now some miscommunication with personnel. And the Cavaliers are forced to take a timeout. I started mentioning our other sponsor, JT's Cuts, one of the premier barbershops in the AK Valley, joining our High Top Sports Network advertising team. He will be providing a free haircut again this week to the player of the game for the Kiski area Cavaliers. Here's Hampton. Borgo fights his way toward the 15-yard line. Gain of, looks to be a long 6. Looks like there's a new quarterback on the field. That was my pause, at least on that last play, Adrian Midgley.
Yeah. Well, you're up 14-0, and Kiski's giving the ball right back to you.
And that indeed is number 13, Midgley. He's going to hand off to Borgo. Borgo goes untouched, finds a hole off the right side, cuts back up the middle, and Hampton finds pay dirt for the 3rd time tonight. This time it's Brock Borgo, and the Talbots extend their lead 20-0.
There we go. Great blocking right up the middle. Nothing you can do about it now.
Luke Fiskus on to kick the extra point. And Fiskus remains perfect in that department. 3 for 3. And that's what the Cavaliers trail by right now, 3 touchdowns. As again, things went from bad to worse for Kiski area. Less than 2 minutes into this 3rd quarter. 10:28 remaining. The Cavaliers trail 21-0.
At this point, you got to put together one drive at a time.
At this point, you're exactly right. One play at a time, one drive at a time. You're going on 3.5 games, 14 quarters of a lot of trouble, negatives, things that you're not very proud of. And with this being the opening game for conference play, there's still a lot of season left. As the kickoff rolls to the 23, and here's Danino again on the right side, and Danino with another nice return. This time, no yellow flags down, and the Cavaliers are inside Hampton territory for the 2nd time tonight. Great job by Dom Danino.
Maybe that's the way to get it done. Danino runs back a kickoff.
Well, certainly he gets a lot of practice for the amount of points that the Cavaliers have given up so far this season. 3 games and 3 times the opponents have scored over 30. Right now, Hampton with 21 on the board. Here's LeBrin Smith with Connor Flem behind him. Flem hit. When he hits as he hits the line of scrimmage, he is stacked up our several white jerseys, and a flag comes in. Waiting for a signal here of what appears to be bad to worse, and what is worse than worse? Awful? I don't know. We went from bad to worse.
Disastrous?
We're certainly pushing towards that territory as the penalty goes against the Cavaliers, and the solid field position on the good half of the 50 is now a long 1st and 20 on the bad side of the 50. There's LeBrin Smith again. 2 receivers left. One right. That is Dom Simmons. Behind him, Connor Flem. LeBrin Smith throws incomplete. Off his back foot, well short of Danino.
Bring up a 2nd down and 20 for the Cavs.
You've seen several times tonight LeBrin Smith moving back as he throws, not getting much power on the ball, and the ball falling several yards short, as was the case on that play. Brings up a 2nd and 20. Here's Smith. Now the pressure comes, and here comes the sack. 3 white jerseys in Smith's face, and put your little hand in mine. Kiski area is faced with a third and even longer. The Bryn Smith comes off the field shaking his right hand, and onto the field comes backup quarterback number 14, Carson Heinley. Carson Heinley, the sophomore left-handed quarterback, will come in an unenviable situation. 3rd and 35.
A chance for him to make a big play through the air, maybe.
Flag before he has any chance.
Should I start typing 4? Is it 3rd and 40?
You mean 3rd and 4? Is that what you were saying?
3rd
like
and 40?
Yeah, okay. It took me for a second to know.
Should I start?
No, it's going to go the other way. So a positive game and several cheers from the crowd.
Keep the drive alive. Instead of a 40, I get to make it down to 30 on the scoreboard.
The sophomore southpaw is only faced with 3rd and 30 now. He's looking, and he's pressured, and just like the senior right-hander, he's going to go down. Another sack by the Hampton defense. Put your little hand in mine. The Cavaliers punt team comes out on the field.
I feel bad showing these again. It didn't look like the line was able to block anybody.
I'm looking at the line of scrimmage marker and where the first down is. And it might be the furthest 4th and long I've ever seen. A low snap bounces. Connor Flem able to gather it and get a punt off. Unfortunately, this time it does not take a Cavalier bounce. Credit the Cavaliers, credit Connor Flem for scooping that ball and able to get it off. There's a big discussion here as I hear the Kiski area coaches in the booth screaming that should be Cavaliers ball. Not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah,
I saw Connor Jordan with the ball and running. Yeah. I don't know if we can get a replay on it. It's kind of weird play as clear the officials were discussing or talking about that play and questioning what might have been a turnover, but unfortunately for the Cavaliers, that did not happen. Cavaliers defenders screaming, jumping, hands in the air, not knowing what to do. Add that to the list of things to fix.
You can kind of see the confusion.
A ton of confusion.
And then finally,
I think a safe guess would be no defense was called, and or if it was called, it wasn't communicated properly to the players on the field because several frantic players looking to the sidelines, hands in the air in obvious confusion. So here we have head coach Sam Albert now talking to the officials, I believe again, about that punt.
Yeah, Flem has a great spin on the ball. Something for a kicker you'd love to have, especially if you were going for maybe an onside kicker. Not the case for Kiski.
As Hampton is still out on the field. 1st and 10 from the 40, 8-12 remaining. Here's a handoff to Borgo. Borgo around the left side, wrapped up by Brennan Moore.
Moore.
Gain of roughly 8.
By Borgo. Second down and
As we said, new quarterback for Hampton in the game, Adrian Midgley. Number 13. Not sure where number 9, Joey Mayer, is. As Borgo runs again. And he's wrestled down to the ground by number 72. That's Luke Early. We saw Borgo, the 6', 200-pound junior, drag Connor Flem earlier on a run for several yards. Right there, Luke Early, 6'1", 240, even bigger than Connor Flem, and Borgo was able to drag him forward as well. Here's Borgo, pushing his way forward yet again. Brought down by Connor Flem, and I believe Don Donino came in there late.
second down and 7.
2nd and 7.
Midgley quarterback.
The report we got on Borgo coming in was he was a hard runner, and he has certainly shown that. Fake the Borgo, but flags come out.
At this point, why not just keep going to Borgo as much as you can if you're Hampton? At this, you can get a couple more first downs, pending a big play.
Flag goes against Hampton. You're exactly right. This is the 4th consecutive game that the Cavaliers have given up over 100 yards to the opposing rusher, Borgo, over 100 in the first half. Hampton faced with a 2nd and 13, and again, as the play was developing, flags come out. Again, it's going to go against Hampton. So for what I believe is the first time tonight, the Talbots offense is going backwards.
Ball's on the 36-yard line.
I got to look to see the last time there was a...
Now it's 2nd and 18 for the Hampton offense. Just over 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Here's a toss to Borgo. Borgo one-hands it. A very poor toss. But Borgo, very impressively, moving forward and able to reach back with one hand, haul in the ball, and gain some positive yards. Pickup of 5 or 6 yards there. 3rd and 12 now. Midgley looking, throwing over the middle. It is complete for a gain of a few. Tight throw to Benny Hasselrig as Brennan Moore was in on the coverage. And there was not much room for Midgley to complete that pass. Somehow he did, and he picked up 3. So it'll be 4th and 9 now.
Why not go for it?
Here's Midgley again, looking downfield, and it's caught. Again, Midgley threads the needle. An incredible catch by Benny Hasselrig. Wow, what a throw and catch by Adrian Midgley and Benny Hasselrig. And Hasselrig has his 3rd touchdown of the night.
Wow. Hey, 2 pretty good looking quarterbacks on Hampton's side.
Great coverage by Dom Simmons there as he was running stride for stride. It looked like that pass was going to fall incomplete. But Benny Hasselrig laid out into the position where only Midgley could throw it and complete it. And Hampton extends the lead to 28-0. Wow. That was very impressive. 2 impressive throws by Adrian Midgley on great coverage by Kiski area.
At this point, it's put it away.
And the bad luck continues. So there we go. Kiski area defense keeping the Cavaliers in the game, only giving up 14 points. They were faced with a very difficult task as the Cavaliers turned the ball over deep in their own territory. And Hampton was able to capitalize to extend the lead to 21-0. We're 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and now that deficit is up to 28. There's a bouncing kick at a Kiski lineman. Looks like number 62 or 82. Nonetheless, as I try to figure out who the player was that came up with that bouncing ball, Kiski area will take the field. Apologize to that young man as I had a tough time making out his number. Let's go with number 82. I'm going to give Clifton Peterson, CP, former lineman in the KVL youth program, out on the hands team. I believe that was who it was. And here's Heinley. Got to run up the middle. You cannot tell me that is not the worst play call you've ever seen in your life.
Didn't fool Hampton, that's for sure.
Carson Heinley, sophomore backup quarterback, takes the snap, and all 170 pounds tries to find some room up the middle. And shocker, there is none. And Kiski loses yards. So Connor Flem, Deshaun McBride, nowhere to be found. We have Carson Heinley to run up the middle. Connor Flem averaging 4 yards a carry. Deshaun McBride, your leading rusher, averaging, I believe, about 3.5. Carson Heinley goes backwards for a yard. Here's McBride. Bounces off the left side. And he's able to plow his way forward for a gain of a few. We'll call it 3, as it looks like the ball's going to be spotted at the 49-yard line. Deshaun McBride limps off the field, and Connor Flem comes on.
Really is tough. A big crowd, as Kiski always has, and nothing to show for it.
Absolutely nothing, as Kiski area is forced to call another timeout.
Have that great drive right before the halftime break, and maybe they'd be able to stick around a little bit longer. I don't know.
Exactly. It's getting to the point where you're almost at a loss for words. 28-0 is your score with 3:50 remaining.
It's a beautiful night there to get out and watch a football game. And
it certainly was and is. I didn't get any scores from any of our other high top sports
I'll go ahead and check into that now. The big one going on at Armstrong, the Freeport matchup there, of course. A lot of talk between the two teams throughout the week.
Funny you mentioned Armstrong. That is who Hampton will play next week.
This is definitely the Talbot fans.
They welcome.
Yeah, they want to know what's going on at that game.
They welcome the Riverhawks for the home opener of conference play. Here's Carson Heinley, forced to roll out. Connor Flem, you got to play that back if you can. Stepped up to block, and he was absolutely leveled.
Well, here we go, right here.
He got ran over. And Carson Heinley was forced to roll out. And I believe, I'm going to take a guess, it's going to be funny. I think he's going to get called for a hold. So, again, you want to add insult to injury. Connor Flem not only gets leveled, stepping up to block, but he gets called for the hold, as the officials must have thought he drugged that player down. As you could see on the replay, there was zero chance that he pulled that player down. It was more like that player absolutely put him down, but somehow they saw something different. And the Cavaliers go backwards.
Hey, well, instead of third and 27 instead of fourth down for the Glass South Full fellas.
Looking to throw, and he's forced to run, and he's hit, and the ball is loose. Carson Hindley, the sophomore, getting his first action, I should say real action, in terms of he's had some mop-up duty, but against some of the big boys, this is not Saturday morning, and you got to be careful when you cut back to the middle. And he was hit hard. The ball came out, and the Cavaliers recovered. And put your little hands in mine. Here's Connor Flem and the punt team. Good snap. Good kick. High wobbly one. Caught back at the 34-yard line. So 34-yard punt by Connor Flem. And the visiting Talbots will take over again, leading by 28.
With Adrian Midgley at quarterback.
Here's Borgo. No room to run, as he's brought down immediately by Landon Kusick and assisted by Luke Early.
Luke Early.
Got one score. West Shamokin over Homer Sitter 29-21.
Is that a final?
That's in the third quarter.
Thank you. West Shamokin leading in the third quarter, as Hampton is faced with a 2nd and 11 here. And before the snap, a flag comes out.
And in the third quarter, Armstrong leads Freeport 35-7.
So if your statement was correct and there was a lot of talking between those two teams, which I suspect there was, knowing the close proximity of those two teams, I think it's going to be a lot of talk on one end after today. As
there were some social media posts floating out and about.
Armstrong certainly will have the ability to have the louder voice in that conversation. Here's a pass attempt down the right sideline. Well out of the reach of Benny Hasselrig. Terry Bart Martin in on the coverage. I got the story from Terry Martin last year, or maybe 2 years ago, basketball, why they call him Bart. I believe it has something to do with his dad being called Homer or something along those lines, but his name is Terry Martin. For some reason they call him Bart. Here's another pass attempt, this time to Eric Weeks, but again, just a little too far. Dom Simmons and Isaiah Gonzalez on the coverage there. And the Talbots, I think for the first time tonight, go 3 and out.
Well, it's not Groundhog Day for the Talbots.
It's something different. You're exactly right. Something different. We haven't seen that. So
2 touchdowns in the third quarter. I think they'll be satisfied.
Here's Dom Simmons with the pressure. Borgo's going to run it, and he's going to be wrapped up by Isaiah Gonzalez. Colin Klein. Dom Simmons was in the backfield there, in the face of the punter, Brock Borgo. And Borgo had no choice but to take off, and the Cavaliers offense will come out on the field at the 32-yard line.
Well, minute 48, you got to score here if you're Kiski.
I would say you got to move the ball in a positive direction, as we've seen Carson Heinley faced with 2 third and eternities in his first 2 drives. Here's Heinley, fake handoff, to Flem, and a rollout pass is complete to McBride. That is something
wow,
is that new? A play action rollout throw to a short receiver, short not in stature, short in distance of the route run. Wow. I didn't know those plays existed.
Wow, you would not know.
That was a heck of a call, right?
Yeah.
And Kiski gained 7 yards. I don't think I can sing the song anymore. 2nd and 3 from the 25-yard line. The give this time is to Flem, and he's immediately hit behind the line. He might have been able to get past the line of scrimmage. Nope. Spot will be at the 26.
Showing the resistance for Hampton.
As Flem exits the field.
Spoke too soon.
And McBride comes back on. Yes, correct. Don't want to give Connor Flem consistent carries, and certainly don't want to run anybody outside, as we're going to give Deshaun McBride the ball from shotgun. It was designed to go up the middle, but because there was so much pressure, Deshaun was forced to go outside, and he was brought down around the line of scrimmage. So, guess what? No gain, and the Cavaliers are faced with 4th and a long 4 or 5, and that'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter. You're listening to the High Top Sports Network as we get set for the final quarter here. Hampton leads 28-0.
Tonight's presentation of high school football on High Top Sports Network is presented by the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. Principles put into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all.
For the final quarter of tonight's action, as Hampton leads 28-0. Got a scoring update again from that Armstrong game. Armstrong with another touchdown, Isaiah Brown for the Riverhawks, and it is now 43-7. Here's a handoff, fake handoff as Heinley's rolling out. Heinley fires in and out of the hands of a Hampton player, in and out of the hands of Connor Jordan, and that Hampton player is Borgo, and Borgo is gone. Carson Heinley, the wild throw as he was rolling to his left. The southpaw pass was intended for Connor Jordan. Initially it went through a Hampton defender, then through the Cavalier receiver, and then back to a Hampton player, which was Brock Borgo. And the score now, 34-0. I have to sing it. Would you like to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Put your little hand in mine. The extra point is good. And for the 4th consecutive week, pass was intended. Have given up 30+. It is now 35-0.
Make sure I put the score on the scoreboard. There we go. Before I even started up the replay, Borgo was off to the races.
In and out of several hands. 2 different colored jerseys before ultimately settling into the hands of the white jersey, Brock Borgo. I didn't see where he intercepted that. It was somewhere around the 25 or 30, I believe, in that range. So 60 plus, maybe 70 plus yard interception return.
He didn't have a ton of people to beat either. It was.
Okay.
Another bouncing kick. This time picked up by number 87. That's Braden Anderson.
And that's Braden Anderson on
the freshman tight end.
Flag.
Getting into the action tonight, so congrats to him.
Imagine we'll start to see some of the younger guys come out.
I would hope that we would see some of the seniors that don't normally get some time. Some of those guys that putting in work during practice and maybe not getting much, if any, time during JVs. So that return, slight return, is going to go back further as an unnecessary roughness penalty was called against the Cavaliers. I did not see who the player was, so I'm watching the sideline to see who's the first person that gets yelled at as the Cavaliers march backwards.
Back to the 15-yard line. Cavaliers, first and 10.
Coach Sam Albert having a discussion with athletic director John Peterman as we get things sorted out. I don't see any players getting yelled at, so I'm not quite sure who that penalty was against, but it was an unnecessary roughness penalty against the Cavaliers, and the offense is now back at the 16-yard line. Here's Hindley with Flem behind him. Can't make out who was beside him. The ball intended for Flem goes in and out of his hands, and it is recovered by Hampton.
Let's see if we can see it.
See if we can see on the replay what happened on the exchange between Hindley and Flem. It's not.
Should be a second or two out here.
That's not a typical quarterback to running back situation that you would see in practice, I wouldn't think. So those two probably not used to each other, and unfortunately the ball hit the ground. And now we have the Hampton offense deep in Cavalier territory again. Borgo late onto the scene as Midgley is going to run for his life before being thrown down at the 28-yard line by Dominic Simmons. Not sure if you were able to find that handoff or not.
Yeah, it was tough to see.
Tough to see. So we'll go back to here, the live action. Hampton with a 2nd and 16. Man in motion, that's number 26, Caden Frank. And Frank is brought down around the 13-yard line. That looks to be number 28, Evan McAnany.
On the tackle, gain of 6.
Gain of 6 on the play, 3rd and 10. So back to the original line of scrimmage. Hampton Waiting for the signals from the sideline. And there will be a timeout. A lot of confusion on the Hampton sideline between coaches and offensive players. So the Talbots will retreat to the sideline and discuss what happened. 9:15 remaining in the ball game. And I hate to say it, Mason, but JT's Cuts, as much as I love them, we love them, it's going to be tough again to try to find a player of the game in another lopsided contest.
More so, even that.
If we could give it to an opponent and somehow they were able to go down to Vandergrift and get a free haircut, it'd be pretty easy, as for the 4th consecutive week, the Cavaliers' opposing rusher has collected well over 100 yards. That's Brock
he's
Borgo.
over 140 now.
JT's Cuts, one of the premier barbershops in the AK Valley, joining the High Top Sports Network team here this year. As we give a handoff to number 33, that's Carson Potter, 5'11" sophomore. Lowers his shoulder, picks up a long one, nowhere near enough for a first down. So we'll see if Hampton brings out the field goal team. I believe they are. That's number 30, Luke Fiskus, the junior kicker, on to attempt a 36-yard field goal. Fiskus missed a field goal earlier today. This one looked like it might have been tipped, but regardless, it is good. And the lead is now 38. Luke Fiskus with a 36-yard field goal, and with 8:23 remaining, the Cavaliers trail 38-0. Started talking about JT Cuts, located at 1207 Lincoln Street in North Vandergrift. JT's Cuts offers men's cuts and shaves along with kids' cuts. JT's Cuts also offers certain styles for the ladies. Open Tuesday through Saturday by appointment. You can book directly via jtscuts.com. That's jtscutz.com, or call 724-561-7075. Get right with JT's Cuts today. So thank you to JT for joining us here in High Top Sports. I say it every week. We get hundreds, if not thousands, of views of the Kiski area football broadcast, and we'd love to have some more local businesses join us so we can continue providing this service to all those football and band fans. Return goes up past the 35. I believe that was Brennan Moore. Picked up the squib kick. Is able to advance the ball for the Kiski offense. We'd love to have we'd love to have more businesses in the area join us. A lot of opportunities, not just in football, as we slowly work our way towards the upcoming basketball season as well. You'll find High Top Sports in the basketball court as well. New quarterback, Dom Simmons, in the game. Simmons is going to keep it, and he's going to pull up lane. Simmons, a design keeper, around the left side, and something happened as he's holding the back of his thigh and laying on the track. So not a good sign. As again, bad to worse to, what was the word you used?
Disastrous.
Disastrous. What's worse than disastrous? Anything? Can you think of anything that's worse than disastrous?
I'm going to be breaking out the thesaurus.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's.
I didn't think I needed to come into the football field today, but.
We have our fourth quarterback. Nope, I apologize. That's Carson Hiley. Now we have a new running back. That's TJ Phelps. So Phelps, as we've seen several times this year, some of the backups coming in mop-up duty, gaining positive yards. I'm sure we'll see TJ Phelps get back into the action next week. We saw him, I believe, in game 1, maybe in game 2. Get a handful of carries. A big one there as the Cavaliers offense is brought down to the 41-yard line of Hampton. And whoa, the second toss of the day by the Cavaliers offense, and it's Phelps. And put your little hand in mine. The ball hits the ground again, and again, the Cavaliers turn it over. The positive sign is we've seen our second toss play of the night. How about that?
It would have been a solid 5-6 yards.
At least. Here's what I don't understand is why are we waiting until the game is clearly out of reach before we start using plays that we don't use with the regulars? We've seen 2 tosses in
JV
mop-up
playbook,
duty.
Mark. JV playbook.
I guess Deshaun McBride or Connor Flem are not unable to receive a toss. Here's number 28. No, it's a fake. It's tough to see. That was a great play call by Hampton. That was 28, Evan McAnany, with a huge run down the left side. Several new players take the field for both teams. So going to have to
really break it out
on the
depth
fly.
chart now.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to have to work quick here as we got a lot of new numbers out here.
Watch that big run here one more time. Just getting the outside edge. Look at that block. Double teaming the block on that far side.
Midgley did a great job selling that he still had the ball. So the handoff. Again, I believe that was McAnany, number 28. Indeed it was. Across the 35 to the 34-yard line, I believe. Yes. Just over 4 minutes remaining.
A first down or 2 and they're out of here.
So my loyal listeners who are still out there, I have been texted another word for disastrous.
There we go.
I don't know if she wants a shout out or not, so I'll wait and see if she wants to text me so I can give her credit. But one of my English teachers that I go to whenever I need help with some of my papers and things, I got apocalyptic.
Oh, that's a good one.
Another one of my teacher friends who lives in the neighborhood, another loyal listener, sent me catastrophic.
All right.
So they're still out there. So to all you businesses in the area, even during a 38-0 sleep or snooze or whatever you want to call it, we still have listeners out there as my phone is now blowing up. This must be the most exciting thing of the night. Well, maybe we should have a call-in show during this time.
The fourth quarter call-in to the Kiski broadcast.
At least there'll be something to look forward to, as we certainly haven't had anything through the first 4 games. So again, I have 2 good friends, loyal listeners out there who've sent me some texts and some similar words or other words that I can use for this display that we've seen tonight by the Cavaliers offense. I'd love to give you credit if you would like it. You can shoot me a thumbs up. If not, you can remain anonymous. Back to the action as Hampton is forced to punt. not too many times we've said that tonight. And the Cavaliers offense will come out with 2:30 remaining on the clock. Again, several new jerseys out on the field for both teams.
The one was Cataclysmal, right?
That's a new one. We had catastrophic and apocalyptic.
Unpropitious.
Here's a handoff to Phelps. And Phelps is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. What's the word for seeing the same thing over and over again so I don't have to keep saying Groundhog Day?
You don't like to put your little hand in mine?
Just like everything else, I think it's starting to run its course.
Yeah, we'll find something new.
Here's a handoff, I believe. I want to say that's Carter Brown now. Didn't see the number, but I know Carter Brown from basketball and from youth football, and that certainly looked like him. Indeed it was, number 20, Carter Brown. So freshman getting some action here in the closing minutes. Getting another text from a male teacher this time. One of the words that he used, I cannot use on the broadcast. The other word he used was dreadful, so we'll just go with that one, as the pass intended for number 87, Braden Anderson, was incomplete. Anderson had his hands on it, was hit hard as he tried to pull it in, and it's incomplete. The Cavaliers, I think, will keep the offense out for a 4th down because this should be the final play. The game clock just over 30, the play clock just over 20. So we'll give the non-starters one more chance, show what they can do, and possibly get their number called earlier in the game next week. The final play is to Brown. Brown picks up a handful. For some reason, the clock, oh, I apologize, I caught myself. The clock stopped because it is a change of possession. So 3 seconds on the board, and we'll see Hampton. No, we will not. The referee said is enough is enough. With the running clock and a 38-0 beat down, that's enough. No mas, the referee says. No more. You guys can text me some other things, but we'll finish here before we go to break. 38-0 is your final as the Cavaliers fall to 0-4. More importantly, 0-1 in conference action. We'll gather our thoughts, and I'll check my text messages, and we'll come back with the wrap-up. You're listening to the High Top Sports Network.
Steffi's Country Catering prepares home-style made-from-scratch dishes that will have you convinced Mom made it. Whatever the occasion, Steffi's Country Catering will have you coming back for every event year-round. Find us on Facebook to place an order or to see our Sunday specials, or call 724-54-85047.
Hi, I'm Dr. DeMond, owner of DeMond Chiropractic, the 3rd-generation chiropractic clinic located in Big Grand, Pennsylvania, founded in 1947 by my grandfather, John R. DeMond Sr. We would love to help you achieve your healthcare goals and carry on the proud tradition that we offer here in Armstrong County. Give us a call, 724-763-8000.
We're here for the post-game wrap-up at Richard Diltz Field as Kiski falls again to Hampton. The Cavaliers start section play, unfortunately, with a loss. They will fall to 0-4, while Hampton improves to 2-2, and more importantly, gets that first conference win. The Cavaliers will travel to North Catholic next week, while the Talbots will travel back home and welcome Armstrong. Armstrong, as we said, will be heading to Hampton after beating down Freeport. Certainly riding high after basically doing whatever they wanted on offense and defense tonight. And another poor showing for the Cavaliers as they allow more than 30 points for the fourth time this year. And for the second time, the offense puts up a goose egg. Cavaliers offense, very, very lackluster and not being able to move the ball. Waiting for some final stats here. Getting some text from some people out in our listening area.
Yeah, well, you gather that up. I'll read off what I have for Hampton.
Go ahead.
The big one, Brock Borgo. I had 19 carries, 141 yards. That's not counting in the pick six that he had. Some nice kicks on the day. He also is the kicker for the Talbots. Had a touchdown on a run. A 15-yard run back in the third quarter.
So, as you said, a big night for Brock Borgo. Certainly would be easy to pick the JT's Cuts player of the game if we were able to, send somebody from the opposing team down to Vandergrift.
I was going to think about Benny Hassling, too. He had 3 touchdowns.
Absolutely.
The first 2 on the day, touchdown connections from the quarterback Mayer, 23-yard connection, and then he caught one from the backup quarterback, too, a 28-yarder from Midgley as well. So not just one guy.
Exactly. It wasn't just the running of Borgo, but it probably, or I'm sure the running of Borgo made it a little easier for that passing attack. As you said, Hasselrig picking up 3 touchdowns of his own and 1 tremendous diving catch, the final touchdown for him on the night. And the final text that I looked at, if any of you out there are Rocky fans, you remember Rocky 3. No, I apologize. Rocky 4, when Apollo was fighting the Russian, and Rocky's cornerman was screaming, "Throw the dang towel." That was the final text that I received tonight, and indeed, I believe many in the stands wanted to be hollering that at the Kiski sideline, as not many positives for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, the stats, there's not. McBride had just over 20 yards on the ground. There's nothing crazy. 58 yards through the air for LeBron Smith, though, so just but unable to complete a drive.
We're all of a sudden excited by 58 yards passing after 2 weeks of under 30. That's the situation the Cavaliers are faced in. So if we have to find a positive for tonight, and JT's Cuts certainly would like us to do that, as he, joining our sponsorship team tonight, is going to give a free haircut to a player of the game. As we were on break, trying to find, some glimmers of hope. One of those names that we brought up was Brennan Moore. Brennan Moore, the junior, who was injured, I believe, and prior to this season, never played varsity football coming into this year. Certainly getting the job done for the Cavaliers in many, many areas. He had an interception. What was that, early? No, that was before halftime, I believe, correct?
Yeah, that was the drive that the Cavaliers made it almost all the way down the field.
When the score was 14-0, and Hampton looked at that point in time to be putting the nail in the coffin.
Oh, yeah.
Brennan Moore came up with a huge interception.
Yeah, right after the touchdown got called back, it would have been 21-0. They put the points on the scoreboard and everything, but then there was a late flag and called it back.
So several tackles by Brennan Moore. So he has certainly been doing his job more often than not, and I believe he will be the guy that gets awarded the free haircut. Are you in agreement with that?
100%. Let's do it.
So thank you to JT's Cuts, the premier barbershop in the AK Valley, located at 1207 Lincoln Street in North Vandergrift. JT's Cuts offers men's cuts and shaves along with kids' cuts. JT's Cuts also offers certain styles for the ladies. Open Tuesday through Saturday by appointment. You can book directly via jtscuts.com. That's jtscutz.com, or call 724-561-7075. Get right with JT's Cuts. So Brennan Moore will be hopefully looking sharp as the Cavaliers travel to North Catholic next week. Not much to add. We're going to have to regroup ourselves and try to come up with some things to talk about next week. It certainly gets demoralizing saying the same thing over and over. You know, we joke about Groundhog Day, but that's the pattern that we have seen through 4 games tonight. The same offensive plays that are not working being called over and over again. The Cavaliers are going to have to go to the drawing board and assess what do we have in terms of talent, and take this offense and adjust to their personnel. This offense may be something that they can use with other players, but it's not something they can use with these players. 4 games, 16 quarters, and only 21 points to show. 7 of that was a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
So realistically, this offense has only put up 2 touchdowns. Whatever this offense is, it's not working. It needs to be changed. As we discussed off air, you could bring Bill Belichick in here and he could design you a defense, but if you don't have the personnel to run it, it doesn't matter. You could want to run man-to-man in basketball, but if you don't have the athletes to do it, you got to move the zone. This offense is not built for the personnel that they have, whether it be linemen, receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, whatever. Maybe it's just time to say, okay, let's figure out what we got, and let's figure out something new that we can do. So without continuing to beat that dead horse, we will put the song to rest. Groundhog Day will end. Hopefully everybody can have a good weekend and we'll get refreshed.
Sure.
The Cavaliers will go back to the drawing board and we'll see something different and a little more positive against North Catholic. Anything else to add, Mason?
For sure, everything you just said. And the sun's going to come up tomorrow. It will be September 17th, so, you know, not any day in February. You're not playing a song. A day to relax, refresh, start getting into the lab, start cooking things up. We'll see if there's a change next week at North Catholic. If there is or if there isn't, there'll still be an opportunity to get on the field, hopefully a week better, realizing you're now in your second section game. Either outcome, whatever happens.
And you said it. It's only going to be section game number 2. So as tough as it's been through 4 games, basically you're 0-1. You have a lot of season left, so there is still a lot of time, and that's going to be the challenge that the coaches face. They're going to have to somehow figure out how to rally the troops and say, listen, we're 0-1. Okay, there's a lot of season left. We have to figure out how we can forget the past and move on and get something out of this year, because there's a lot still left to play for. But after 4 games of basically getting beat 30-0, 30 to very minimal, it's going to be a very, very tough task for those coaches. So I think that's it for Mason Flanagan. I'm Mark Flem. Thank you to everyone who's still out there listening. Thank you to everybody who tuned who tunes in every week. It is a tremendous amount of fun and enjoyment for us to bring you these broadcasts. Keep sending us texts and criticisms, words of encouragement, whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you need.
We're here for you to make this as exciting and as enjoyable as possible, because it's certainly been challenging at times. But we look forward to having you guys with us next week. So look forward to us next week at North Catholic. And that's all we have here from Richard Dilts Field. You're listening to the High Top Sports Network.